Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. I normally don't cover this kind of thing, but it's Marvel adjacent. It's Disney Plus, streaming services, the pandemic, and contracts, actor contracts. So let's go ahead and just jump into this. Scarlett Johansson sues Disney for breach of contract over Black Widow release. Okay, so Disney's decision to release Black Widow on Disney Plus at the same time as it hit theaters has sparked a legal battle with Scarlett Johansson, the actress tasked with playing the Marvel superhero. In a lawsuit filed Thursday in Los Angeles Superior Court, attorneys for Johansson alleged that the star's contract was breached when the studio opted not to debut the film exclusively in theaters, a move they claimed depressed ticket sales for the Avengers spin-off. Much of Johansson's compensation was tied to the box office performance of Black Widow. If it hit certain benchmarks, bonuses would kick in. The suit reads, Disney intentionally induced Marvel's breach of the agreement without justification in order to prevent Ms. Johansson from realizing the full benefit of her bargain with Marvel. Let's see, back in March, they announced that it was going to be on Disney Plus for $30. The move was made as the movie theater industry was rebounding from COVID-19 closures. Blah 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 blah. It's made $80 million in North America, $78 million overseas, pulled in $60 million on Disney Plus. Ticket sales steeply declined. It stands at $319 million globally, putting Black Widow on track to become one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies of all time. So it did break records. It set pandemic records, okay, but it's also the lowest grossing Marvel movie of all time so far, which of course, with the condition of the world and, you know, maybe the Disney Plus thing, it's kind of understandable how it ended up like this. So let's see, the suit notes that Disney chose to placate Wall Street investors and pad its bottom line rather than allow its subsidiary Marvel to comply with the agreement. The suit reads, to no one's surprise, Disney's breach of the agreement successfully pulled millions of fans away from theaters and towards its Disney Plus streaming service. Yeah, and they also alleged that the release of the film concurrently on Disney Plus resulted in $50 million in lost bonuses, because that's the thing, is that, like, you know, as they were saying above, they were saying, like, basically, if it hit these certain benchmarks in the box office, you get like a little bonus. You get like a little, like, oh, here's a little, you know, like a video game, you know, like you hit a certain point in your little meter, you get a little bonus, you get even more money. Anyway, so here we go. Johansson's legal salvo comes as a new distribution paradigms, I think, and the COVID-19 pandemic are reshaping the way that A-list actors are paid for their work. Many top actors include back-end profit participation as a part of their contracts, but the rise of streaming services such as Netflix has removed those forms of compensation, and the decision by traditional movie studios like Warner Bros. And Disney to release films on their own in-house subscription services has further upended these old ways of doing business. Yeah, the streaming services, especially within the last year, have completely changed the movie industry forever. If you guys remember, there was that big hullabaloo about HBO Max and their whole plan to release movies at the exact same day for free, for not even like the Disney premium $30 charge, releasing them like, just sign up for HBO Max, you get the movie, which of course everyone went crazy about, because all kinds of actor contracts, like they're talking about how they're a lot of them are tied to the box office, you know, and basically what they're saying here is that the studio had to pay tens of millions of dollars to the star of those films, resulting in actors such as Will Smith, Denzel Washington, and Keanu Reeves earning their full back end on the movies that Warner Bros. Released on its new service. So that's essentially what Disney's dealing with here, is that, you know, Scarlett Johansson and her team is basically saying, like, hey, you put this movie out available on Disney Plus. Yes, there was a $30 premium. It wasn't like just given to the people like HBO Max did, but, you know, I still lost out on all my back end stuff, all my little bonuses that I would have gotten if it had done better in the box office, which, you know, again, even though it's setting pandemic records, it did not reach a lot of those box office things. It's actually the lowest Marvel movie. So basically what it looks like is Disney's going to end up having to pay those tens of millions that Warner Brothers had to pay a while back. And her attorneys even say her suit could be a precedent setter. It's no secret that Disney is releasing films like Black Widow directly onto Disney Plus to increase subscribers and thereby boost the company's stock price, and that it's hiding behind COVID-19 as a pretext to do so, John Berlinski, an attorney for Johansson, said in a statement to Variety. But ignoring the contracts of the artists responsible for the success of those films is furtherance of the short-sighted strategy violates those rights, and we look forward to proving as much in court. This will surely not be the last case where Hollywood talent stands up to Disney and makes it clear that whatever the company may pretend, it has a legal obligation to honor its contracts. Ooh, man. So yeah, that's basically what he's saying, is that like, now they are claiming, basically what they're claiming, okay, is that like, it was in her contract, this is what they're saying, it was in her contract that it was going to be exclusively in theaters, and then she was gonna, you know, the box office was going to be bigger, and she was going to get all these bonuses, and that was traditionally how this has been working for Marvel, and I'm sure pretty much all movies from Disney and Warner Brothers in these studios, right? So they're claiming that because they put it on Disney Plus for their premium thing, that broke the contract. Now, what I'm curious about, I'm curious if her contract actually said that it had to be exclusive to theaters, because, you know, I can imagine that it said something like, oh, it has to be in theaters for X amount of weeks, and you know, so on and so forth, and she gets an X amount of percentage of the box office, but did it actually say exclusive? And the reason I'm wondering that is because, you know, I have to imagine that this was a, you know, this contract was a 2018, 2019 era contract. So I don't know, but here, there's a little bit more here. It says, Johnson's legal team said that the representatives for the actress were worried that Black Widow would debut on Disney Plus even before coronavirus brought life to a standstill. Okay, that's very interesting there. So even before coronavirus, even before the pandemic kind of made it a precedent, and HBO Max actually made that first move, really. Well, actually, I don't know if they made the first move. I know that a lot of Pixar movies have gone on Disney Plus Premium. Anyways, basically they're saying that like they were kind of scared this was going to happen even before coronavirus, which is kind of fascinating, which means that like even though the pandemic was like the testing ground that like Warner Brothers and Disney used to be like, hey, let's put all these movies out here because people can't go to the theaters, this was already an idea. This was already like a thing they've been playing with probably for some time. As part of the suit, they shared emails from the Starz management group that asked the studio to guarantee that Black Widow would premiere exclusively in cinemas. Okay, that's very important. That's very, very important. Exclusively in cinemas. In response, Marvel Chief Counsel Dave Galluzzi promised a traditional theatrical bow. Now, again, that's also very important. If, you know, the terminology and the exact wordage used, both in the contract and in any preceding emails or anything like that, those are all very, very important, the exact way they're worded. Because traditional theatrical bow can just mean, yeah, it's going to be in theaters for this amount of time. But they wanted exclusively in cinemas. But is that what he promised? Is that what he said he was going to give them? Because that's what they asked for. That, you know, this is where like the really, really key important stuff is. While adding, we understand that should the plan change, we would need to discuss this with you and come to an understanding, as the deal is based on a series of very large box office bonuses. Okay, so basically they, you know, her team has emails saying like, we understand exactly the issue here, and if, you know, if it changes, if this, you know, if the traditional theatrical bow changes, we'll come to you with a deal. Now, supposedly that did not happen. You know, supposedly there was no new deal reached. However, Disney has come back. Disney fires back at Scarlett Johansson, calls Black Widow lawsuit sad and distressing. Now, I want you to look at the actual times that this all happened here, because this was at 10:53 a.m. today, and this was at 2:16 p.m. So just only a few hours later. Only a few hours later, Disney's like, okay, we're responding to this. You know, had a meeting with their lawyers, and they responded. Okay, the Walt Disney Company clapped back at Black Widow. It's kind of strange to read this in like a Variety article. They clapped back, like this slang terminology in a Variety article. I'm not talking about legal stuff, but anyways. Star Scarlett Johansson slammed the actress's breach of contract lawsuit for showing callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so let's actually read what they said. There is no merit whatsoever to this filing, Disney said in an unusually fiery statement. The lawsuit is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, again, they're kind of using the pandemic as a bit of a shield here, you know, kind of like Warner Brothers and Disney were doing to like try and make this move in the first place. You know, they're kind of doing this thing where it's like, well, hey, a lot of people can't go to theaters, so we want these movies to be available, even though, you know, like, yeah, we're benefiting greatly from doing this also, you know. So they're kind of using it as a shield in their statement back there. And let's see, the company went on to state that the star has already received $20 million for her work and argued that the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premier Access has significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation on top of the $20 million she has received to date. Now that is very, very, very curious there, because supposedly the idea is that they did not come back with another agreement like they said they were going to have to. They said they said like, hey, if it changes, we're going to have to come back and make another deal with you about these box office bonuses and all this other stuff. Supposedly that didn't happen, because otherwise, what is this lawsuit about, right? But Disney says here in their response that, yeah, the Premier Access enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation. Like they're essentially saying that like those little bonus benchmarks, like those things that she would have had to reach with the box office in order to get those bonuses that she's after, the Premier Access enhanced her ability to get that compensation on top of the 20 million, which to me, you know, the way that this is all being worded means like, oh, so yeah, the Premier Access, it was all counting towards the box office on Disney's end. You know, Disney's like, yeah, that was all counting towards it. You know, we're still, you can still reach those benchmarks and get those bonuses. So now I'm very, very curious if like, is there some kind of massive misunderstanding here? Was Disney basically saying like, yeah, this is all counting towards the box office, and Scarlett Johansson's team just misunderstood? I don't know, because this statement right here, where they're literally saying like, no, yeah, she can, the Premier Access is helping her, it's going towards that. That's so strange to me, because that makes it sound a lot more like Scarlett Johansson and her team are misunderstanding this. You know, Disney did not provide any information about whether or not Johansson's pact was renegotiated so that she could share in streaming rental revenue. Okay, so yeah, here's what I'm seeing here. Okay, because we don't know if it was renegotiated. I have to imagine it wasn't, maybe. Because here's the thing, they when the box office reaches these certain points, they get a bonus, right? And Disney's basically saying that like, yeah, the Premier Access is helping that, and Scarlett Johansson's team is saying like, hey, you hurt the box office. But if the Premier Access is going towards the box office, like in Disney's eyes, then, you know, like, then I'm kind of questioning like, what's happening here? Let's see, studio position to move, and then they kind of repeat a lot of the same stuff that we read in the other article. But yeah, as Berlinski suggests, Johansson's lawsuit could impact the way that movie stars are compensated in their streaming era. It may inspire a wave of fresh legal action by actors upset that their films are not exclusively debuting in theaters. Now, you know, and this is just like really where it's curious, because a lot of these statements are exactly the same that we had just read. But, you know, again, I need to read what's in this contract, and because it sounds to me right now, just based on these two articles, based on the handful of quotes that we actually have from both sides, what I'm gonna say based on this alone is simply that like Disney is counting the Premier Access as part of the box office that would help those goals, like those certain numbers, get hit, that would let Scarlett Johansson have those bonuses. That's what it seems like Disney is suggesting here. Like, that's literally like what this sounds like here. That's what that sounds like, you know. However, Scarlett Johansson's team, either they're unaware of that, or this is just like a brand new thing that they've never been told before. I don't know. Either way, the situation is very interesting. I don't know how much it's actually going to blow up. A lot of people are saying this is going to very easily get settled out of court. You know, Disney's going to be like, hey, look, this was always the deal. We were totally always going to do this. And maybe they were. I don't know. And she, you know, they're just going to be like, yeah, you hit this milestone with the box office, including the premiere access. And here's your, you know, extra 20, 30, 40 million, whatever, right? So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Either way, very interesting stuff. And, you know, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not like a business expert here. There's a lot of people who know a lot more about this. I'm actually kind of excited to see Dan Merle's take on this if he makes a video about this, because he knows a lot more about like the industry part of things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is this all just a big misunderstanding, or is Disney kind of trying to subtly be like, oh, we were totally gonna do this the whole time, you know? And are they like, oh crap, now we have to, you know, kind of let her hit these bonuses, because I guess if you add Disney or add the premiere access, technically she's hit some of these marks already, you know. So I don't really know which way to lean with that. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think. My thing at the end of the day is like, you know, a lot of people are kind of taking sides already, or at least some people are. My thing is like, this is a billion-dollar company. This is a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, AAA actress. I don't see any reason why I need to feel bad about either of these sides. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone's a victim here. They're both fine. They're both going to be fine. Scarlett Johansson's going to be fine. Disney's going to be fine. They'll settle this out of court, you know. So like, I think that's pretty much all the drama that's here. Like trying to blow this up and make this like a even bigger thing than it is seems a little silly. But yeah, ultimately it seems like Disney's kind of already trying to give the hint of like, okay, we'll add the premiere access to it, just you hit the mark, whatever, you know. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.